I'm building a dining room slab table that's going to have steel legs. Those steel legs are going to have these plates on the top. This is just a 1/8 inch thick, 6 inches wide flat bar, mild steel. These are going to screw into the underside of the tabletop. Tabletop is going to be wood, and of course with wood you have to plan for seasonal expansion and contraction. What that means in this case is I can't just drill a hole the same size as the screw or the bolt that I'm going to use, fish it through, bolt it up and call it good, because as the seasons change, the table is going to expand and contract across its width, which will be this way. So if I don't allow for that, then it's going to cause problems either with the legs or the top or both. The way I'm going to accomplish that is I need to cut some slots for these screws to go through. The slots will be oriented this direction, so allowing the screws to move with the slab. The trick to it is I don't have a mill machine, I don't have any sort of a punch, I don't have a good mechanical way to cut that slot that would give a good result. So what I'm going to do is use a template with my plasma cutter and have the plasma cutter cut the slot out. The way I'm going to do that, I've got this aluminum flat bar, also 1/8 inch thick. I'm going to cut off a 6 inch piece. The tip of my plasma torch has a 3/8 inch diameter on the drag shield. So I need to have the template have an opening that is 3/8 of an inch plus however big I want this slot to be. For this project, I'm going to use 1/4 20 screws. So it needs to be at minimum 5/8 of an inch wide. Wouldn't hurt to have it be just a little bit bigger, but 5/8 should be good. So what I'm going to do next is cut a 6 inch piece. Using a scribe, I'm going to find the center lengthwise and widthwise, and then from the center, I'm going to measure out how far I need to drill to get the length of the slot that I want, which an inch, I'm guessing, is probably good enough for this. And to do that, the center points where I'm going to drill need to be, if I'm going for 1 inch total, I need 1 inch less 3/8, because it's, as I'm cutting through, it's going to be 3/16 at the top, 3/16 at the bottom. And I don't need to worry about the 0.25 looking at the length. So I want the distance between the centers to be 5/8 of an inch. And then once those are drilled out, that will leave a little bit of waste in between where the two holes are drilled. I'll use a Dremel with a little cutoff wheel to cut that out, and then probably one of the little Dremel sanding drums to kind of smooth everything out. That's pretty much laid out. This is the center of the width, center of the length, and then I'm going to use a 5/8 Forstner bit to cut this. So this line and this line are 5/16 off of that center line, and I want the slot to be about 1 inch long. So this point, which will be where I drill, here and here, these are both 5/16 off center with a 5/16 gap here. So this will be where the Forstner bit ends. We'll end up with two kind of mountain shapes here in the center that'll need to be cleaned up. Let's drill. I couldn't find my 5/8 Forstner bit, so I'm just going to use a step bit. It'll work just as well for this, I think. Now to the Dremel. Now that that's clean, I'm going to try to make these marks a little easier to see. All right, now it's ready to test out. So this is the same steel I'm using to make the mounting plate on the legs. When I do that cut for real, it'll be oriented this way, but this is just a test. And if this was on the real piece, I would use these lines to line it up exactly where I want that cut. And one thing I should point out, this is only going to work if you have a plasma cutter that uses a drag shield, just in case that wasn't clear. And there you go. I'm going to go grab some of the bolts that I plan to use to secure this, just so we can do a test fit real quick. So there's the slot. This is the type of bolt I'm planning to use, just a little 1/4-20 flange head. And it fits. Might need a little bit of cleanup, get some of that slag out of there. And there's a spot, you won't be able to see it from there, but on this side, I didn't have my torch perfectly perpendicular, so the wall of that slot is angled in a little bit, makes it a little bit tight there. But I can just file that to make it nice and even all the way. It does the trick. So if you have a need to cut some slots in steel or work in aluminum too, and you have a plasma cutter with a drag shield, this is an easy way to get a serviceable slot. Is it as clean as you would get with like a CNC plasma or CNC laser or something like that? No. Could you do better with a mill machine? Yes. Do I have a mill machine? No. Anyway, if that's helpful, hit the like. If you want to see more of the stuff that I do in my shop, to include this table once it finally gets built, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.